Oh, I should have tested audio before streaming, actually. I mean, it looks like you can hear that. Surely you can hear this as well. This is just going to be pure noise, maybe a bit loud. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, you can hear that. Alright, so let's go ahead and do this thing. Look, it's not the most enjoyable experience. Yeah? It's not the most enjoyable. But it's kind of essential. Yeah. It's an essential part of the music production process. I, for one, am getting pretty damn bored of it. But I've got a lot of songs that need a lot of mix down and a lot of mastering. So, you know, you plow through it. You do what needs to get done. Like I said, I mean, I couldn't find any issues. When I first listened to it, I couldn't find any issues with the song. In fact, it might be beneficial if we all listen to it the whole way through without the reference, without the noise. And yeah, if we hear any issues or anything that might need changing, then we can do that. Let's have a listen.
Please put your hands together. The infamous Lion Tamer. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's not one lion, it's two.
Looped it by accident, sorry. Yeah, alright, cool. I'm going to be honest with you. I mean, there's slight changes. The crashes are too quiet, but we can do that later. The bass notes. Yeah, this is very, very mono. Very, very mono. Let's see. There we go. I made the whole thing mono, and that is, in my opinion, is a problem. I'm going to unfreeze that track, and I'm going to just make it bass mono, and let's have a listen again. That's a lot nicer. I mean, it's almost pretty much where it needs to be anyway. Yeah, I mean, it's not exactly wide anyway. And we've got the high bide, and that's quite wide as well. So that does the job. All right, cool. Well. I say we get moving. Whip samples and unused lines. We need to make sure that that stays quiet. So I'm going to be like, keep off. Stuff that we keep off. And drop duck, we don't have, we do have side chaining. I don't know why that's not there. Okay, whatever. We're going to turn that off, keep just the drums, turn off the cymbals. The ratio of the cymbals might be okay, but I'm actually going to adjust that too. Interestingly enough, we've got the snare quieter. Maybe the ratio is fine, but that's what we're going to be looking at right now, right this very fucking second. We're going to loop just this area because we've got some kicks here, and we've got some snares, and we've got the pre-snare as well. I'm going to turn off the pre-snare, I'm going to turn off the snare, I'm going to turn on the reference, which is just pink noise, and then we're just going to get into it. Going to be a bit loud, a bit obnoxious even. So apologies for that. Yeah, it looks like I've done minor sort of mix down already with the adjustment of the volume of the drums, but I've got nothing on the drums. We've got a little bit of saturation there. Okay, sure, all right, let's get in. So that kick is very clearly poking out of the whole pink noise situation, so we need to bring that down a significant amount. This high end of the kick is poking through really nicely. In fact, when I move it down, I can hear the high end and I can hear and feel the bass, especially in the whoop, that part. That part's very, very clear to me. We do want the kick and the snare to be poking out of the mix more than anything else, so we're going to keep that in mind as we adjust the volume here. Let's leave it there. Weirdly enough, there's some tonal sounds there. Yeah, there's like a weird. I don't think I'm hearing things because it's literally repeating. That's so strange. But, you know, whatever. So we've got the kick in place now where we want it to be. Let's get the snare involved now. So that's where the peaks are for the snare. I want to have it a bit more. About there. About there. That's what we're listening for. A little bit of reverb on that. Absolutely nice. Alright, so this is what we've got so far with just the kick and the snare and the pre-snare. Cool, yeah, I'm happy with that. It feels quite weak right now, but maybe it'll thicken itself out later on, we'll see. Now these hi-hats, unfortunately, we've got the same hi-hats going on during the verse, and I feel like it's going to be too loud if it's in verse, as is. but we can always adjust the gain, or the gain on the EQ, or the gain in the utility. The gain in the utility, if we want to, yeah? Yeah, but for now, let's just adjust it accordingly to how I think it should be. We're going to turn off the crashes for now, and we're going to focus our ears just on those hi-hats, and we're going to bring it over here. Now, I do know that this is being cut underneath the trigger. Then we've got left-right balance, that's fine. Then we've got delay after, interesting, then reverb after, and then EQ after. We should have, I mean, we don't need it after the EQ, but we should have the side chaining sort of after the reverb and the delay so that it still ducks underneath the kick and the snare. Otherwise, what the fuck is the point? There's simply no point. Okay, let's have a listen. Now, that hi-hat piercing through the mix, right there, those little peaks right there. Let's turn it down. These are the peaks that we're looking out for. About there is fine. I'm going to check it in the intro and the verse too at a later time. We'll do it after we've done the adjustments for everything else. Now let's turn on the crashes, and we're going to turn off all of the crashes, except for the first one, and slowly work our way down. Now they're not exactly overlapping, so we don't need to do too much EQing to them. We can see there's nothing on the group, so we're forced to manage the volumes, the levels of them individually. So let's go ahead and do that. That's what we're looking out for. Very, very quiet. It's a feeling rather than an actual crash. About there. And don't forget, at the end, we can always adjust levels, but this is just pretty much bringing everything to the absolute maximum that we can comfortably. Oh, so we've got a lot of peaks there, actually, weirdly enough. What I'm going to do here is, I suspect, just from experience, that this shit is probably got sub. It doesn't. Okay. Let's have a listen to all of these. Make sure none of these have any sub in them. Tell you what, it's clean. We're subless. All right, cool. Yeah, fuck it. I heavy fuck with that. I'm happy with that. Not complaining at all. All right, good samples. All right, cool. So yeah, this is the sound we're listening out for. Peaking over there, which is really fucking low, fucking 400 hertz. And we're gonna bring that down. I think that's peaking where the snare is peaking as well, which is a bit unfortunate, especially since we don't have any ducking there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the same ducking, so this is side chaining compression on the trigger, and I'm going to drag it onto the crashes, because this is, for some reason, the peak is clashing on the fucking snare, and it's happening at the same time as the snare, which is just annoying. I don't want to. One thing that I could do is just have a slight fade in. But then I'd need to do it on all of them, and that's just a little long when I could just drag this plugin on there instead, and that pretty much solves it. So let's keep it moving. So that's what it sounds like now. Got to try to find these peaks. We're going to be looking more at this fuzz over here, and we could probably keep it relatively loud now. It's hard to see because it's laid with the snare. I can hear it, but there is a sound. It's literally in the pink noise. What is up with this pink noise? This is not pure pink noise. There is overlapping frequencies making weird tonal sounds. So strange. Genuinely really quite strange. This begins with sounds like some sort of crash sounds in just the pink noise alone. I'm going to need to change my pink noise, I think. Anyway, let's keep it moving. Alright, let's keep it there. Turn the snare back on. And let's move on to the next one, which is this bad boy. This is what it sounds like. We can see the peaks are pretty much here, and that's where we're going to be looking and listening. Bring it down to where we want it. A little more. About there is fine. Now, without it, you can see that there is still tickling peaks here anyway. So it's not this crash that's doing that. So there's the crash doing that. Probably adding with another frequency. Anyway, we can always adjust that later. So now let's have a listen to this reverse crash and fuck with that too. Mix into noise, you know it next. Enjoy the pink, it's pink noise specifically, but yeah, that's exactly what I'm doing. Yeah, hopefully you don't mind it, because it is just listening to noise more and more. So we can see the peaks over here. We're just going to bring this down. Pink noise is my fave. Cool. This is not a perfect pink noise though, because I can hear some extra fucking shit going on in there, which is a bit of a shame. A little bit, but it's a little bit of a shame. I'm going to bring this down. About there. And let's move on to this crash now. This is what this crash sounds like. This one's got delay on it, so we've got to be careful with that. Was gonna say, yeah, it's unfortunate. So, this is what we're looking at. In context, we can see the peaks right here. Right now, like I say, we've got delay on it, and so, we've got a lot of sounds crashing up, adding up together. Let's bring it down. Bring it down. Until it fits nicely into the mix. Alright, let's call it there. So, now let's have a listen to what we've got in terms of the drums so far. This one feels too loud, and it's quite low down, so it definitely needs to be lowered anyway, low down in frequency. About there works. But we should always listen to it in context with all the other sounds as well. So we'll do that later on. Ain't around long. Got a busy day, but wanted to drop in, show some love. I appreciate that, bro. Thanks for coming down, big dog. Biggest of dogs. All right, so drums are done. Now let's bring in the intro duck, which looks like we've got intro build, and we've got the vocals. So I'm assuming we've got a compressor on here, maybe here. Yep, we've got a compressor on there. And it's not sidechained, it's just a compressor, right? Let's have a look. Because there is sidechain. If you have a look over here, we do have sidechain to the trigger, but it's turned off. So I think it is just a really, almost a limiter. Look at that fucking 9.69 ratio is ridiculous. All right, let's have a listen.
Please put your hands together. The infamous Lion Tamer.
All right, that works. And then we've got the delay and soundly place it, which is, I think it's a free plugin, really awesome. If it's not, I've paid for it, but I think it is free, which is just insane because of how awesome it is. You can sort of choose what sort of speaker you want it to sound like. You choose what sort of space you want it to sound like. You can choose to have a wall in between the speaker and the space. And yeah, and that's allowed me to make this really cool vocally sound without the delay.
Please put your hands together.
Without the soundly place it.
Please put your hands together.
It adds so fucking much. It's glorious. Oh, one thing that I noticed with this is that, yeah, we've got a crazy amount of ratio and crazy amount of low threshold, but we've got a lot of out. We've got a lot of makeup gain, essentially, yeah. So that's why it works so much. Okay, let's have a listen some more.
Please put your hands together.
So these are the sort of frequencies that we're listening out for. I'm going to go ahead and loop just that area. Please put your hand together. And we're going to fuck with the audio.
Please put your hand. Please.
With the pink noise in place, let's get ready. It's going to be a bit loud. And turn down your volume. Sorry for the loudness. So we can slightly hear the vocals through this, but I'll turn it all the way up so that you can hear it very clearly.
Put your hand. Please. Put your hand. Please. Put your hand. Please. Put your hand. Please. Put your hand. Please.
We can see the peaks here, especially on the S.
Put your hand. Please.
And we just move that down.
Put your hand.
When he says please, we've got a roll of frequencies moving from left to right in this area, and that's what we can focus on. And about there, because I do want the vocals to be piercing through the mix, just like I want the drums to be piercing through the mix. So next up, we've got this Lion build. I don't want to fuck with it too much, but I am going to look at the loudest part of the sound, which is over here. This is what the Lion build sounds like. It is more like a feeling. It's a lion-y sound, growling in the wilderness. We've got reverb on there. So we've got a compressor initially under my face. Then we've got some saturation to bring it up. We've got the LFO on the balance, so moving left and right. Looks like it's moving more left, moving more right than left, but whatever. And then we've got a reverb. So yeah, that's the vibe that we've gone for here. Let's have a motherfucking listen. These are the frequencies we're looking at. I'm going to turn it all the way up, making sure there's no plugins on this group, which there isn't, thank fuck. And then yeah, we're going to slowly bring it down. These are the frequencies we're looking at. A lot of bass and a lot of shit around the 80, looks like 70 hertz area. Slowly bring that down. In context with noise, bring that back. There we go. All right, cool, let's go. Bring it down. and about there. So that's the loudest possible part that it can go. I want this to be more of a feeling rather than something that is standing out from everything else. Now this is part of the build-up, and I don't want these two to be too loud either. What we're going to do is we're going to just do this little area, and I'm going to turn off the low button, listen to just the high button. This is what it sounds like. And then we're going to adjust that accordingly. Make sure, so we do have reverb on here. That shouldn't affect things too much. We're just fucking with the dry wet. And on here, we've got a whole bunch of plugins. I don't want to make this too loud because it is just part of the build-up, and I want to make sure that it feels quieter in comparison to everything else. So we can fuck with it. We can bring it to whatever levels we want, and then at the later stage, we're going to then bring things down. All right, let's get into it. These are the frequencies we're looking at and listening for. Over here is the real peak, but it's so quiet that it's barely noticeable. We could leave it like that, genuinely. We could just leave it like that. And now this is the low button. This is what it sounds like. So we're looking at frequencies around here. I'm going to slowly bring that down as well. That one stands out a lot more. And the reason we've got it over there is that it shouldn't be clashing too much with the growling, because that's also got sub bass. And we've got it over here as well, and we've just got to watch out a little bit because those sub basses will be clashing. Yeah, we've got a low cut, but it's not a low cut enough to take out the sub bass, right? If I move this over here, you can see very clearly the low cut is only 24. And then over here, actually, this low cut is decent. It's all the way at 71 because this one doesn't have a low cut at all, yeah? So having this low cut does help a little bit in terms of cleaning up the sub bass clashing. If we remove the reference pink noise, we can have a listen to them together and make sure everything is okay. Nice. Very quiet. Let me turn up your volume, and I'm going to turn up my volume as well.
Please put your hand.
Yep. And so I'll leave this for now. We're going to adjust the volumes later on because that can definitely be brought lower down in volume. So the intro duck area is now done. Now we're going to bring in the drop duck. How exhilarating. So we're going to turn off pre-meow, meow try to, sub, bass, lines, whip notes. Apparently we're just going to start with the effects. So normally I like to do the effects last. So I'm actually going to do the effects last. So let's start with the whip notes, which again, I would normally prefer to do this last, but I think, yes. Okay, this one does have some plugins on, but it's not too bad. And I'm hoping that they fit in nicely. I would assume we've got a compressor on here. We don't, but we do have a saturator on here, which is, it's not the same thing, but it does do the job. So let's have a listen to these whip notes by turning on the drop duck. Let's have a listen to these whip notes. That was deafeningly loud. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. That was so loud for me as well. Good God. Good God. All right, that should do it. Keep moving it down for you. All right, so that's what we're cooking with. Now let's have a listen to it in context, and then we're just going to adjust the whip notes. It's not layered with much else. There's effects here, but you can see, yeah, it's not layered with any sub or anything bassy. So we don't need to EQ it too much because it already sounds okay, and it's okay to have the sub having some bassy elements. There is bassy elements in there, and that's giving it texture to the sound. Yeah, so we're okay with that. Let's keep it moving and listen to the pink noise and work our way down. You can hear this is right now so much louder than everything else. We can see in context where it's peaking, which is almost fucking everywhere. But we're going to look over here, and because, like I say, these parts are kind of on their own, we do have a little bit of drums, but it's mainly on its own in terms of synths. So we can have these quite loud, but we just need to make sure it works in context with the song. So let's bring it down. About there, I think, is a good level because it's just about visible-ish, and it's definitely audible, and that's the main thing in terms of pink noise, in terms of using it as a reference. I think that's helpful for now. And like I say, we can always adjust things, but this is just a quick and easy way of doing it in a quick way. More than anything. Man, I'm playing this game and it is so addictive. I'm playing this at the same time. I shouldn't be, but it is very enjoyable, very addictive. Very good game. For every 2 enemies directly killed by Firewheel, summon 2 mini Firewheels. Don't mind if I do, considering it already releases 2 mini Firewheels every like 2 seconds or something ridiculous like that. And there will be a lot of, calamities by the Firewheel, so it's going to just drop so many more Firewheels. Yeah, God, yeah, that was a good one. We could go with we could go with Firewheel leaves a flame trail for 2 seconds during flight. Don't mind if I do. Yeah, I love the Firewheel, to be honest. Right now, I'm loving the Firewheel. There's other parts, other ones that are decent as well. It's just the Firewheel, it speaks to me, man. It speaks to me. Okay, apologies. All right, so Lions Duolingo, is that part of the Lions? Fucking well is. All right, so let's close Duolingo for now. Lion Go. Fucking hell. And we're going to, are these... Yeah, we don't have anything on the group, so we are going to have to treat these differently. Let's have a listen to this. That is very quiet, and I think it's more as a texture, and then there's this. Yeah, and so that is more of the main sounds, but the top one is more of the texture. Okay, so I think it might be a good idea to... We shouldn't really fuck with this one too much, because it is a texture, and we don't want textures too loud. The point of the pink noise process here is to make sure the loud parts are as loud as they can be whilst fitting in the mix. The quiet things should be quiet to make the loud things perceived as more loud. And so we don't want to fuck with it too much. That's the thing. We don't want to fuck with the quiet stuff too much. Okay, one moment. Just going to check what the enemy's weaknesses are. We've got physical damage and fire damage. We've got fire damage, and we've got electrical and force field damage. I'm going to carry on with my normal strat. All right. Okay. Let's fucking just do this anyway. And like I say, at the end, we'll adjust. But let's get everything as loud as it possibly can, and then production is reduction. We reduce shit after. Yeah. That's the goal here. So this is the sound that we're working on. Disgusting, and let's slowly bring it down. I've got it there because then that becomes more of a texture rather than a sound that's really in your face. And then we've got this. We've got a lot of low frequencies, which kind of forces that to be down there. What I would like to do to this is put some multi-band compression on it, specifically OTT. Yeah, so we do have EQ, but it's right at the beginning of everything. So I'm actually going to put the EQ right at the end of everything to make sure that there's no sub-frequencies involved there. This one does have EQ, and where it is okay. We've got it at the beginning of the chain, but none of this should be fucking with the EQ anyway. So let's slowly adjust this OTT amount until it's not disgusting. Very quiet, because that's what OTT does, but it's actually not disgusting right now, in my opinion, to be honest. About 50%, weirdly enough. I'm going to actually bring it before the reverb, because I don't want to be OTTing the reverb. That's disgusting. And what that should have done is evened out the EQ just a little bit. There we go. So now this peak isn't super peaky, and it brought up the highs a bit, and it's going to make it a little more perceived in the mix, which is quite nice. Really quite nice. So let's keep it moving. Fuck me. Sorry, I moved your volume up as well. It looks like I'm doing everything that you suffer with, I'm suffering with as well, don't worry. Bring yours up slightly, have it around there. Bring mine down slightly. Okay. So, we can hear it clearly, we can see it clearly now as well, and that's what we're looking at and listening to. See, I thought we're looking at here, but we're not actually looking at here. It might be better to look around here as well, because over here there's already some sort of sweeping elements going on. I say we leave it around there, I think that's okay. And we've got some pre-line, so let's look for the pre-line. Looks like it's over here, and it looks like it's the same sort of note, same sort of thing. Pretty much the exact same sort of thing, but we just got it going on there instead. And nothing but reverb on here, and it's very quiet. It's a feeling. Yeah, that's what we're looking for again. We've got big peaks over here from the A, if you will. And that's something we can look at to help us bring it down. Okay, so now that Lion is done, now it's well, we're not actually done because we need to move on to Duo Lion Go. Gotcha. So what this is hello Anthony, welcome to the stream, big dog. What this is when the lines split into two. So we've got this. In theory, they should be equal amounts of lefts and rights. So over here, we've got apparently some automation on this, but it's 26L. Let's see how that moves. 26L throughout the whole thing, whereas this is 1L, but let's check, 26R. And it brings it back to the middle in the middle once that little area is done, yeah? We've got nothing on the main channel, and I think it would be a good idea to treat this the same way that we treated this, and that is to say, take that OTT and put it on these two as well. In the exact same place, that is to say, I mean, before the reverb, yeah? We're going to need to take the EQ and put it after the vocal doubler, and we're going to take this OTT and put it after the compressor. And that should work. There shouldn't be any issues with that. And I'm thinking I can do the same thing over here. We're going to drag this here, drag this here. And now it should be a little brighter. is a lot brighter. Much better, I think. We've got more stuff to work with there, which is not bad at all. Okay. Let's use this duo Lion Go, and I think we just throw a RMS compressor on the whole thing to tie it all together, right? Let's solo it. I'm going to turn the volume all the way up. Let's solo it, and I'm going to bring this down until they're all neatly glued together. All right, I think that's good. So these are the peaks that we're looking at. The same sort of peaks as the last one, and we're going to slowly bring it down in relation with pink noise. Let's go. In theory, it should be roughly the same volume as this one. No, not the pre-Lion. This one, the Lion Real. And I mean, look, we've got minus 7.6, add minus 7.2, so that is actually minus 14.8. So we're 0.1 decibel away from it being the exact same. But again, we're using our ears, and it just happened to be that way. Let's move on down to motherfucking bass. And this is where we've got the Bidens. We've got the high Bidens, low Bidens. That's it. We've just got the high Biden and low Biden. So let's get ready with that. I'd say, I mean, there's 40. Let's keep off. And that's 55. So we are more than halfway done now. Thank fuck. The pink noise part is probably the least enjoyable because it's just kind of the same process. You're just doing it over and over again. There's nothing special. All right, let's get the high Biden, make sure there's nothing on here. There is nothing on there, but we could put a glue compressor on there, but then we would need to make sure that the ratio of the high Biden and low Biden is okay. But already I think it's glued together quite nicely, and we can tell because if we listen to this, it sounds like this. Yeah, good. It's got the high Biden giving it a high growl, and why can I not hear that? Oh well. All right, let's get into it then. Yeah, we'll loop just that little area right here. We're going to turn this volume all the way up and hear what this sounds like. This is what we're focusing on, and that it's barely present. Yeah, let's bring it down with a pink noise. I'm sorry, it might be loud. We could leave that at fucking 6, to be honest. It's barely even noticeable. And now we're going to bring on the low Biden. We're looking at over here, yeah? In context, that's what we're fucking with. We could go about there for the maximum, and like I say, we can always adjust shit later on. Bass is therefore done, though we could increase this whole thing up because this is, like I say, crazy fucking quiet, to be honest with you. We could increase the gain on here. Maybe we do that. So I'm gonna add 6 decibels here and bring that back down to 0. And to be honest, let's turn it all the way up. 12 decibels is the absolute highest it can go. Let's hear it. It's still very, very quiet in context. Welcome, Goku-san. And welcome to the stream, Tom. Thanks for coming down. We're going to have a listen to it in context. It's a bunch of pink noise. We can hear it now, and those little peaks over here, that's that. it down. There we go. Fits a lot nicer now. Which, funnily enough, is actually the exact same thing, because we had 12, and now we've just gone to -6, and so it's still the same as just +6. How did the feedback go? It went really well. I tried watching the VOD, but I can't see it. The VOD. Interesting. I don't know what VODs are, bro. What are you making here? This song is called The Lion Tamer. It's about a guy that tames lions. I'll show you it. I'll show you it when we're done with this little section of the pink noise. I'll play it right at the end. But I played it at the beginning of the stream as well. If you wanted to go back to that as well, because I know you're on YouTube, Anthony. So you've got the pleasure of being able to do that. I do stream. I try to stream daily. I don't stream on Sundays, but otherwise I stream most days. Let's move on to the motherfucking sub, yo. So this is what the sub sounds and looks like. Nice and warm, but in my opinion, very, very quiet, actually. Why is that so quiet? Okay, too loud. We're getting a lot of distortion now, but we can hear it at least, and I can bring that down. Like the stream replay, interesting. But I can't see it. Interesting, interesting. No, yeah, I mean, I did do that stream. I think I did it last. Like, yeah. I did it yesterday. It was my last stream. Interesting. Yeah, it was called Reviewing Your Songs, Feedback on Mixdown, Melody, Drums, and Everything Else. And I even did some videos out of it. Here, just to give you an idea, let's watch this one video. I've been listening to songs for over 3 decades, so let me review your songs. All right, first up, we've got Global Reset, Touch, Tundra Remix. Let's have a listen. Holy shit. All right, fuck. Okay, so here's what I'm thinking. 1, creativity-wise, fucking awesome. That fucking pitch, the wiggle on the main synth. Ooh, fucking delightful. What I also love is that they've got just slight distortion on the noise, making the bass feel more thick. Fucking love that shit. In terms of mixdown, it's very clean, though those bass stabs are a little too wide for my liking. Have a listen. I mean, look, I would prefer if those higher frequency sounds were more on the wide and the boom, 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 boom stabs were a little more central. It's almost like a breather away from the whole thing. But to be honest with you, in terms of melody, fucking excellent. In terms of creativity, fucking excellent. In terms of mixdown, could do with some work. All in all, 10 out of 10 would run through a field naked to have a listen again. Let's move forward. So next up, we've got DJ... I didn't mean to show you your one, but it just happened to be the first one, to be honest. Yeah, there you go. And yeah, Goku, I'm also from UK. VOD, video on demand. Basically, a VOD is either an uploaded video or a live replay. Gotcha. Good cut for Insta as well. Yeah, that's the plan. Yeah. So that's for Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube Shorts. Okay, video on demand. Okay, thank you, Anthony. Interesting. I don't know. I guess they don't save on Twitch. I've absolutely no idea how to do that, or if it does that at all. Also, I still need to fix my Twitch thing because, like you say, my SoundCloud link doesn't work. I need to work out how to do that. Man, Twitch is like, it's a whole thing, man. Settings? No. God. Channel? Potentially. Channel? Potentially. Oh, you can hear that I'm listening or watching my own shit. Okay, what happens if I click SoundCloud? Interesting. Why does that not work? Lim Lam Official. I've got it called Lim Lam Music. I can just change that. Fucking hell, this whole time? When did that happen? God, that's terrible. I'm so sorry. Huh. Huh. I don't actually know how to change that. I should be doing this at another time. This is not. This is not the time to be doing this. All right, let's get back to what we're supposed to be doing. Apologies. Apologies. All right. Okay. So yeah, the sub bass. We're going to adjust the audio. Adjust the volume. This is the frequency we're looking out for. Lovely. Quite smooth. There's no clicking or anything. But obviously it's just a bit too loud. Lovely, no distortion anymore. And in context, and we're just going to bring it down. You can see this peak is the sub bass. It's so much louder than everything else. We just need to bring it down. About there. Awesome. You hear that? Can you hear that? I hate this pink noise, man. There's so many fucking frequencies, random fucking frequency sounds. Yeah, it's not pure pink noise. All right, let's move forward. I'm gonna keep complaining about it, but I don't know if I'll ever do anything about it. But that's me. So this is Meow. It took me a long while to find fucking notes that make it sound like a cat meowing, but have a listen. And this is fucking meaty. I made this in Vital. I think it's the only thing I've made in Vital. Actually, I did make a song in Vital using presets of it sounds like telephone notes being played, and I really quite liked that. But this is a thing that I made, and it sounds like cat meowing. Right? It's normally not distorted. Shit, maybe it is. Anyway, this is what the frequencies look like. And these are the frequencies that we're going to be adjusting as we bring it down. Lovely. Let's loop just that so that we can focus on that. See, the idea is that the lion has been tamed and turned into a little cat, right? We've got the lion, then we've got the whip sounds, and then turns into a cat. My cats approve. I'm glad. All right, good. I'm glad I got the approval of the le catos. In Mandarin, it is Mao. That's what a cat is called. Mao. So we could still see these peaks coming through here. What we could do is add some Vastaus. Which can help with those peaks, tame them a little bit, though we don't want to tame it too much because those peaks are kind of what is making it cat-like. If we turn it all the way up and put it on to 8 times so that it's very clear what the sound is doing, I'm going to turn the volume all the way up. Have a listen. This is with Vastaus. This is without Vastaus. With, without, with, without. Brother, I'm not going to lie to you, I cannot hear a difference. Let's see if we can see a difference in the EQ. So this is without, this is with. Without, with. Arguably, it sounds worse with it. Slightly. All right, whatever. Let's drop it. No Vastaus. I couldn't hear a difference. Could not hear a difference. I can't hear a difference either, but I'm only listening on cell, not because that. Gotcha. Yeah, these are my studio headphones. They're only like 50 quid, but I am very used to the sound, so I should. Sorry, I just fucking moved my laptop a centimeter and everything. Just decided to. Anyway, let's adjust this audio again. Let's just stick with that first, right? And then we can bring it down. Slowly bringing it down. I'm going to look at this peak because it's the biggest one. Bringing it down. About there is fine. And that is very fucking quiet, but at the end of the day, we can always readjust. Now, we've got some pre-meows. What that means is, in the intro, we've got some meows meowing as well. And it's normally going to be quite reverb heavy. Yeah, we've got 69% on the reverb. So let's slowly bring that. Let's have a listen to what it sounds like. Awesome. We've got a lot of, unfortunately, we've got a lot of sub information there. So what I'm going to do is get a motherfucking EQ on that motherfucker and remove that low end, because that's just going to make it easier for us in the long term to not have to deal with that. No one wants that muddiness, right? So we're going to loop once again just that initial and then slowly bring it down in terms of pink noise. This is so much smoother. About there. And we can hear that super clearly as well, but it's not piercing through the mix too much. Now, unfortunately, we've got a shit ton of effects. I wish we didn't. But here we are. So these are all done separately, so we're going to have to treat them separately as well. This whip sound is fucking awesome, in my opinion. Have a listen. I like the wibble wobble, you know? I've got this LFO. I've got this LFO doing crazy bits. This is on a 16th note on the reverb, and the reverb is on automation, and it comes in there. Just there. And then as soon as the thing's done, it stops. Yeah. All right, so that's what we're listening to, and that's what we're slowly bringing down. Let's get to it. We can see where the whoop is, and we can see where the cha is. So we'll just bring that down. But we can make it still peek through just a little bit, just like a kick and a snare, because this is in an area where there's nothing else going on. I know it says there's intro duck stuff going on, but there isn't. These are vocals that aren't being used, so that's not actually there. So there isn't actually anything else going on during this. Oh, we've got some meows actually, but the meow I think stops as soon as the shit hits. No, it doesn't. All right, whatever. Who gives a shit? Not me. All right, let's move forward. We're going to have a listen to these elephant sounds. Now, the ratio of these elephant sounds are, in my opinion, already perfect. I just need to make sure that there is no sub-frequencies going on. So I'm going to just chuck on an EQ, check it out. Yeah, I think it's fine. Yeah, whatever, that's fine. Yeah, I mean, they already fit really nicely together. They're already the exact same volume. I'm going to bring them both up and then just adjust the main volume. I'm going to call this elephants. And let's bring it down. Which is better for mastering, a hardware or a software compressor? I don't know. I don't know. I've never used hardware, so I can only tell you about software. And I like software, but I've never used hardware. So, yeah, unfortunately, I think you're asking the wrong person. I'm not. It's not appropriate for me to give you an answer there. Yeah, but I mean, look, some people prefer the hardware sound. I don't even have hardware, and I'm happy with software, so I've no need, in my opinion, to use hardware at all. This is good. Let's slowly move it down. Yeah, we've got frequency peaks over here. Good question, Anthony. Thank you for asking. About there is good. Let's move on to the line breakdown. Now that we've done the whip, we've done the elephants. Line breakdown, which is over here. Interesting. What is this? Okay. Okay, well, the ratio of these two are quite decent. So I say let's leave the ratio as is and adjust just the overall gain. All right, let's loop it about here and let's get cooking. That's what we're listening out for. Specifically this. We've got a lot of sub information, unfortunately, but it's not layered on. Actually, we do have lions over here, but that doesn't have sub information either. So this being the only thing with sub information, I think is okay. But it doesn't hurt to clean it up. Fuck it. Go on then. You convinced me. There we go. Alright, and we'll slowly bring down that audio. We can see the peaks over here. We've got a big peak over there on the you know. Bring it down. 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 About there. Awesome. Again, it's one of the effects, so we want it to be a feeling anyway, so we want it pretty much below the line or in line with the pink noise. Lovely. Loud applause. This is what it sounds like. This one, I want it to be a feeling more than a sound, rather than like a main event. So let's have a listen, loop it, and slowly bring it down. So we can see the peaks here, but it's not easy because it's going to fit in pink noise really nicely. There we go. And we can always adjust it later on, and I almost definitely will. Now, finally, fuck yeah. We've got ambiance. I'm hoping that there's a compressor on this. There isn't. Let me chuck a compressor on there. Just because we've got little peaks and stuff, and it's just going to make it easier for me if we sort of smoothen out those peaks. I'm going to loop over here where there's a peak. We're going to have a listen. It's going to be really, really quiet. I'm sorry, you're not going to be able to hear it probably. There we go. Okay, so like I say, this one is also a feeling. We're going to bring it all the way up, arguably too loud, and then we're going to bring it down again. So this is what the ambience sounds like. Right? This is supposed to be the sound of inside a circus. So that's why it sounds like that. Let's slowly bring it down. So you can see here, it's not even peaking. That's how quiet it is, but we cannot have it this loud. There is something making a bunch of noise. I mean, obviously not the noise, but there's something making a bunch of sounds that I don't want. Let's do it over here where I can hear it a bit clearer. There we go. About there, and we can always adjust it. And that's exactly what we're going to do now. Yippee! After working, you get to work a little bit more. But let's have a listen to the whole thing. And yeah, if we hear anything that we think might need some adjustments, we just make those adjustments. Before we move forward, just in case, I'm going to collect all and save. And you said my setup is geared towards analog live doorless performances. As such, I think I'd need a hardware compressor. Damn, they are expensive though. Damn. Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha. Yeah, I mean, if you have to, then you have to, innit? If you have to, then you have to. Yeah. Damn. And there's so many different compressors as well. So many different compressors. And that's the thing, I don't think you can get a free hardware compressor, but you can get plenty of free software compressors. And that's something that is a bit of a shame. I mean, even with Ableton, there's multiple compressors that it comes with. Well, dynamic. So we've got multi-band dynamics, multi-band compressor essentially. We've got a glue compressor and a normal compressor. We've got a gate, which is essentially, you can use that as a compressor. And we've got a limiter, which I didn't even know. I don't use it. I don't use this limiter. I use a compressor as a limiter for some reason. Huh. But yeah, we've got a limiter as well. I don't even use that limiter as well. There's a specific limiter by George Young that I like to use. But I'm sure this limiter is good as well. I don't know. All right, so let's have a listen. Anything that you think doesn't sound nice as well, you just let me know. Let's get into it. I'm going to turn up your volume because I'm sure it's bloody quiet.
Please put your hands together. The infamous Lion Tamer.
God, these levels are fucking horrendous. All right, all right, cool. Let's get into it. So right off the bat, that one's too loud. That there is fine. These vocals were too quiet.
Please put your hands together. The infamous Lion Tamer.
Let's try that again.
Please put your hands together. The infamous Lion Tamer.
That's cool, and the whoosh, I need that to be louder. That is the whip. We're gonna go over here.
Lion Tamer. Lion Tamer.
So, like I say, normally I make everything else quiet. Things that are too loud, I bring that down. Rather than bringing things up, but fuck it. Yeah. The music's overall level is rather low. Yeah. Yeah, but that can be sorted out later, because this is just the mixdown process anyway. In the mastering process, I can bring it up. There's no need for it to be loud right now. Yeah, there's no need for it to be loud right now.
Lion Tamer. Lion Tamer.
Awesome. What I am going to do is cut this so that it stops as soon as that whip comes in. That's the ambient sound.
Lion Tamer.
And this crowd applause, it's okay. I don't think it's needed.
Lion Tamer.
What we could do is have it fade in there. Cool. And make it a texture rather than a big element. That's awesome. This ambience is way too fucking loud for the drop. Way too loud. So we're going to take that and we're just going to adjust the gain in here, behind my head. Oopsie. There we go. Over here, we're going to adjust that gain. Nope, we're not going to do that. The reason we can't do that is because I put a motherfucking compressor on there. So instead, we're going to duplicate this. Exactly the same. The level is okay already for the intro and for the verse. It's just not okay for anywhere else. So we're going to remove just the intro and the verse from it, and we'll leave the outro as well because that's fine. And then we're going to adjust this volume. And I'm sure you can hear that that fucking sucks as well. I'm going to make the lions louder. Cool. And these bass, this high Biden is absolutely painful. What we're going to do is, instead of what we've got there, I'm going to add in sample delay. So instead of having it slightly to the right, I'm going to have sample delay on the whole fucking thing. And this is what the sample delay sounds like. Without. It just separates the ears, right? Yeah. Cool, gonna put the sample delay before the reverb. And, alright, cool. This guy sounds familiar. Hey, Sonny. Hey, Anthony. Sonny is the guy that did these vocals.
Please put your hands together. The infamous Lion Tamer.
Now, what I don't like is this right here. I want it to stop as soon as that whip comes in. Alright, cool. I've got an idea. Let's make it go straight to mono as that comes in. We're going to go like that. We're going to go like that. We're going to, whoops, back. I like that. We're going to bring it there. We're going to go like that. We're going to make it fade-ish, straight to mono, about there. And it stays mono for that part. And we're going to make the gain pretty much disappear, yeah? Because it's got reverb on it, and so it's not actually going to be able to disappear unless I do it with the gain after the reverb, and that's exactly what we're doing. We don't need that. We need it like that. I'm going to do it again because I don't want that to change. I want it to keep it at 0. And we're going to go like that, and so that there's a little bit of movement, a little bit of, otherwise we might get a clicking sound, and we don't want that. Let me just bring me back. Hello. I see. Hi, Sonny. Glad to meet you. I don't think Sonny's still here. I'm going to be real with you. All right, let's move forward. I think we've got the whipping sound again, and you can see here I decided to cut it back, which was a good idea. Looks like this is actually slightly out of place.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's not one lion, it's 2.
All right, cool. And yeah, all right, so now that we've adjusted these lion sounds to the right volume, we're going to need to increase the meows. Awesome, and then for the second drop, we're going to need to then increase these duo lion sounds as well. About there, I think. It might actually be the same, do you reckon? 7.6 at 3.1, we're looking at 10.8. Okay, we're not actually at the same. Is it 10.8? No, it's 11 because these are negative numbers. Yeah, okay, so 11.7. Okay, whatever. Okay, let's keep listening. Alright, this needs reverb because it needs much more smoothing out. Smoothening out. There is reverb. Without vocoder. Much better. It's a texture, not a main element, so we need it a little quieter. All right, the hi-hat, the crashes are actually okay, to be honest, and I think the hi-hats in the verse is okay as well, surprisingly.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's not one lion, it's two.
The crowd applause is good. We can make that ending line louder. I know it's one of the effects, but it's we've just had loud lines, so it makes sense to keep the lines loud. Cool. Cool. All right. I'm going to call it there, and then we'll do the mastering after. I'm going to close all of this because it's just hideous. And I'm going to collect all and save again. All right, look, thanks for coming down, anybody that's here. It's been an absolute pleasure. Maybe I'll be